Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm going to talk about how I use Online Jobs PH to hire my VAs and how to use Online Jobs PH so you guys can hire virtual assistants from the Philippines. So obviously, let's start with what is a VA. VA is a virtual assistant that can assist you with simple tasks, sometimes a little bit more complicated than other times. It's very, very useful for a wholesaler, pretty much any small business to hire a virtual assistant. Some people hire them for social media stuff. Some people hire them for some management, little tasks and this and that. We as wholesalers, we hire them for cold calling, cold texting, and maybe some other tasks as well. But at the moment, I'm going to talk to you guys how to use this website. And I've had a lot of wholesalers ask me about this because they're not really sure where to start when they want to hire a VA. It's a very simple process, actually. So I'm going to tell you guys how I do it so you can do it yourself. First, before that, I want to talk to you about what you need to do before hiring your first virtual assistant. Obviously, what I suggest doing is that knowing what you need them for, that pretty much makes sense, right? You want to know what you need the VA for. You want to know what they're going to do, and you want to be somehow skilled and understand that field. You don't want to hire someone to do a job that you don't even know how to do. Here's why. Let's say you hired a cold caller and you've never done cold calling in your life, so you don't know what to expect. So when you're doing cold calling yourself, you kind of have an idea what kind of performance do you expect from the VA, what results. Maybe the results are not going to be as good as yours, or maybe better than yours. I don't know. So it depends on who you hire. It depends on your skills as well. I like this phrase. I've heard it before. Dangerous enough in the field you're hiring someone in. So you need to know what they need to do, how they're going to do it, and maybe they will add something to it and make it better than you were doing, but still you need to have at least the basic understanding what the field, what the process requires. But let's get to hiring. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to talk about Online Jobs PH and how I hire through there. But you can use other websites that I've tried using, but the results were not as great. I've used Fiverr before, but Fiverr is not bad, and I use Fiverr for a lot of things. I use Fiverr to actually produce my brand and do the planner that I recently released. But I had designers help me out on certain things. But Fiverr, as for virtual assistants, are not as great. And the reason behind that is that you hire someone for one-time assignments. It's kind of hard to find someone on Fiverr that wants to work on full-time basis. When you're looking at other websites, you can try and find someone like that. So I started from Fiverr. I hired someone. It was a couple $100. They called, big list, no results. They're also not motivated to really give you results when it comes to cold calling or cold texting, because they're not really motivated to keep coming back to them. I mean, of course, you may come back, but a lot of times it's not like it's their job to work only for you. They have other clients. So they're not really, I'm not saying they're not completely motivated. They're just not as motivated as an employee would be. Another website that I've tried using was Upwork. And Upwork isn't bad. The problem with Upwork was, at least for me when I was starting, is that it was kind of expensive. It was prices like $15 plus per hour. And when you're starting off and you are a wholesaler that, maybe you already got a couple of deals, that's why you're hiring a VA, that's a lot of money. So you can't really hire that. And the reason behind they're a little bit more expensive is because actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Upwork and VAs are within the United States, VAs. And of course, they are trying to make a little bit more money because, it makes sense in America to make $15 an hour. That rate makes sense. That's why a lot of wholesalers, they hire from out of country. Philippines are very, very big on virtual assistant. It's a big thing for them. So I think I would say most wholesalers, they hire from Philippines. So in Philippines, you can hire someone for cheaper, and it's actually not that you're ripping them off. You're paying them a fair rate. And I'll get to that in a minute. I've talked to my VAs and they kind of explain to me how the situation is out there, so it kind of makes sense. All right, well, first of all, you're going to be using Online Jobs PH because I really think this is the best option that you do have to hire someone from Philippines. So let's jump into it. Couple things about the website. It's $69 a month to use the website, and you don't have to pay that right away. The way you do it is that you go into the website, you create a job, you click post a job. Okay, so right now you can see that I actually have 3 active jobs posted at the time, so I cannot create a new one because I'm at the lowest plan, $69 a month. If I did a more expensive plan, I can create more job posts. Which is not a problem because I can easily create the other ones. I'll show you guys when they were created. It's been quite some time. But yeah, so you create a job title, a type of employment, full-time, part-time, freelance, job description, wage, salary, required proof ID. It kind of explains here what proof ID is. So the higher the better, but 50 or more is fine. And then here, job skills, you know, you can put something in here, but I would talk to you guys how I do it and what I look in my VAs the most. So you post the job, even if you haven't paid yet, you can post the job and just wait. So you will get applications. I think they review their post within 24 hours. I would say obviously in the description of the job description, make sure that you explain what hours they're going to work, what days, how many, what they're going to be their tasks, what software they're going to use. So that kind of gives them an idea in, you know, what field you're working. So you get all that. Obviously, you're going to put in the wage, salary. After that's done, you post the job, you will get the applications. Don't pay yet. Then you will see how many applicants will be coming to you. You know, in 24 to 48 hours, I'm guaranteeing you will get 10, 20, 30 people, sometimes more. When the first time I posted, it was a lot more than that. Now it's been kind of less, but still I get like, you know, 30, 40, 50 applicants. Within a week, I probably have about 50 applicants. So it's pretty good. And then you start going through the applicants. But before you can go through the applicants, you do have to pay for the website. So the website will show you how many people apply for a job, but it doesn't show you their contact info, their name. It shows their name, not full name, so you cannot look them up. And then none of their resumes is showing, anything like that. So you really have to, you wanna put your job out there, see if anyone bites and if people are actually interested in the job. And then after that, if you think you have a lot of people applying and you have people to choose from, go ahead and pay. Now you can start working on those interviews and etc. And that's what I want to talk about. It's actually Online Jobs PH has done a pretty good job on when you get applicants for your jobs. So let me look at this. So you can see here, I actually had 3 jobs. One was posted in kind of second quarter of 21, then a third, and then later on, I just recently posted a job in January this year. So you can see right here, this was 24 applicants. This was 84 hits, so 84 people qualified for what I was looking. You know, it's surprising it's less and less people, but I think what it is that because I created very, very similar jobs, I should have deleted the previous one and created a new one. I just didn't feel like doing that, so I kept creating new ones, so it was less and less people. So I think it's only the new people that can apply, not the old ones. So I think that's how it works. I'm not confident, but I think that's how it works. Within those people, okay, so you got a bunch of people that are qualified for your position. You know, you click applicants, and then now, when it goes to the applicants, you actually can start looking at their resumes, you can start looking at their qualifications. And the cool part is what they do is that they actually, besides sending you just resume, they will also send you a voice sample. And if they don't, you can ask them for the voice sample. Okay, so this applications are back from July because, like I said, this is an older application, so I haven't updated this one. So this is how it would look. I'm hoping this is a proper application, because some of them don't care. Just the same thing as you get in the US. Some people don't care. They will just send you a resume and be like, oh, figure it out. You know, you want a cover letter, kind of explaining what they do. You know, this is for something like this. This is not too bad. I would like to know a little more. So, you know, this looks like, I don't see that she has any experience in real estate. Looks like she has experience with some of the platforms, the cold calling platforms. And then, yeah, then you can go ahead and click on this. This is Walkaroo, is what they use to do online voice recording. And you can actually listen to it.
Glad I reached you, sir.
Oh,
I'm calling about a property at 1020 A Street in DC. Are you the owner?
I don't know if you can hear that. She's really quiet.
All right.
In this, you can see if how they approach situations, because a lot of times, not only they just record their voice, or they're like, so you can hear their pronunciation of things, their accent. You can hear everything about how they talk. But they also can record like a conversation with a previous seller. If they were in real estate, some of them actually have recorded full-on conversations with sellers that were motivated to sell, and what questions they asked and how they approached it. So that's always good to listen to. Kind of get your idea how they are, how they operate. Obviously this is surface level stuff, but at least it kind of helps you determine who you want to interview post resumes, post application. And like I said, you go over this stuff. I prefer someone that does have real estate experience. If they don't, and I have hired people that don't have real estate experience before, I think the most important thing for me, it's actually not even the real estate experience. It's the how how their time management is, how responsible they are, how they handle their own tasks. So all that stuff is super, super important for me. So I think that's even more important than having the real estate experience, because I can teach you that. I cannot teach you be a responsible employee, a responsible person. So that's kind of more difficult to teach. So that after that's done, I go ahead and look over everyone. I send them a text back, so you can easily just reply right here. After you replied right there, you can go ahead and see if they want to do an interview. I've done all the interviews over Skype, not Zoom, nothing like that. It's going to be Skype. I don't know if maybe some of them may use Zoom, but just a lot of them just use Skype, which is, I like Skype more than Zoom anyway, so it's fine with me. So after the interviews are done, obviously doing interviews, I ask certain questions. I actually recently had a friend of mine help me prepare some of the questions, because I always had certain questions, but she helped me out a little bit more to get a better idea what kind of questions I should ask. She works in the HR department, so she definitely, and she does hiring for big companies, so it makes sense. So she, tell me about yourself, tell me about your experience in real estate, why you were let go of the previous job, or why you quit the previous job. How do you handle sellers, in difficult situations? Though I asked is that, like, how do you handle a seller if they don't want to give you a price? Because that happens a lot. You want to push them to give you a price. So how do you handle that? What's your expectations are, all that stuff. So you don't want to get too much into it, but you want to ask a couple questions to kind of give an idea how they talk, the energy and whatever, just to get an idea about the people. Then after that, I explain about what position is about, and then I tell them that if they're interested, I'll reach back to them, and a couple days later I reach back to them, and if I'm interested, and I offer them a job, and then they start shortly, and then I start training them, and etc. But I haven't talked about how I'm going to pay them. So the way I pay my virtual assistant, I pay them a base pay plus a bonus pay per closed deal. And I think this is the best structure that you can ever do. You want to have them a base pay so they feel confident that they are going to get some money every week, but that you also want to motivate them to close more deals. Okay, so I believe that if you can actually have a decent base pay and a bonus, everyone wins in this situation. And what's a decent base pay? Okay, I've seen some wholesalers pay $120 a week to a VA for 40 hours, and I see that that's a little low, but I've seen people pay that. But I do think you get what you pay. I pay more than that. I've seen some people pay like $300 a week, which is more than I could afford to pay for every single assistant. That would put a lot of strain on my business, so I can't do that either. So I go somewhere in the middle, So, and I also give them a bonus, which almost equals to single week of pay per closed deal. I think that motivates them a lot, and I think that's very beneficial for everyone. So I really do like it to do it that way. So that's something to keep in mind. I think if you're staying in $160 to $200 price range when you're starting, you should be fine. You should find some good employees that are motivated to work, and obviously on top of that, you want to pay them bonus for every closed deal as well, close to whatever you pay them weekly. Another cost that you should keep in mind about is that you should keep in mind that if they're gonna need a platform, so if you need like add an additional cold caller, like if you're gonna be cold calling they as well, you wanna add them as a user. That will cost you, depending on your platform, anywhere between like $80 to $130 per extra user. Obviously, you're gonna have to buy extra phone numbers and extra this and that. So, I consider per VA, because obviously I'm gonna get new leads and etc. I consider about $250 extra costs. That's what I do consider a month. And another thing is that how do you keep track of VAs? I know some wholesalers just love to like put like a tracking system on the VA's computer, so they can always see what they're doing, and they double check. And I've had VAs tell me that, like, oh, you don't do that? I'm like, no, I don't do that. I don't do that because I don't believe that's the right way to do it. I want to trust my employees. I want them to be self-managed, and this is a trust relationship. If I cannot trust my employees, I don't want them. That makes sense. I don't want to control them 24/7. I think it puts strains on them, puts strain on me, and that's not why I'm hiring someone. I'm hiring someone so that I can grow my business. How I can grow my business if I'm gonna just have to keep track of them at all times? Like, that's not how growing business works. That's not, in my opinion, that's not how you should do it. So obviously I keep track of the way, once a week, twice a week. I go on the calling platform that we have, make sure they're still doing calls, this and that, so it's not like I'm sitting there 24/7. I still double check, making sure we're hitting our numbers, we're hitting what we're expecting, all that stuff. They always text me when they're when they go into their shift and they leave their shift. So there was always communication there. So we try to stay on track on all those things, but it's not that I keep track of them 24/7, which I know some wholesalers do, and I've heard it from other VAs, and they hated it. So, and I do think that's not a good way to do business. And then after that, yeah, so, if you have good VAs, you hire them, they start working for you, you start building your team up, they start doing tasks for you, and you pay them well, and you take care of them, they will take care of you, and that's kind of the relationship that we have. And I think that's what you should aim for. I have really good relationship with all my VAs, and I think we just hired a fourth one that should be starting next week. So I'm very excited. So definitely check out Online Jobs PH. This is not like a sponsored video, by the way, so there's no affiliate link for the Online Jobs. I just wanted to tell you guys about it because I've had a lot of wholesalers ask me about how to use it and what they should do and where to even start about finding a VA. So that's about it. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions. Like this video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel for this kind of content on your page at all times. And as always, guys,